If Stephen Harper is elected to a minority government, would you at least be open to the idea of forming a coalition with Tom Mulcair? That doesn't really hit on the issue of a possible coalition. If you were elected to a minority government, how would you stay in power? You'd have to certainly make nice with Mr. Mulcair at that point.
What Canadians don't want is politicians organizing backroom deals around who actually gets to wield power. I trust Canadians.
What I said during that interview, what I've said for the past 3 years is that I am unequivocally opposed to any sort of coalition. I trust Canadians' capacity to determine who will sit in their parliament and let parliamentarians serve them in the best way that they can. Today, I'm announcing that the Liberal Party has reached an agreement with the New Democratic Party to deliver results for Canadians now.
I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone that I stand firmly against the politics of division, the politics of fear, the politics of intolerance.
Et là, il faut faire un choix en tant que leader, en tant que pays. Est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là ou est-ce qu'on tolère ces gens-là?
To try and subdivide and strategically, map out who you want to speak to and who you're going to ignore is exactly not what the Liberal Party is going to do.
The small fringe minority of people who are on their way to Ottawa or who are holding unacceptable views.
If you don't want to get vaccinated, that's your choice. But don't think you can get on a plane or a train besides vaccinated people and put them at risk.
Mais il y a aussi des gens qui sont farouchement opposés à la vaccination.
Qui sont extrémistes.
Qui croient pas dans la science, qui sont souvent misogynes, souvent racistes aussi. C'est un petit groupe, mais qui prend de la place.
A number of people have testified in this inquiry referencing your widely published comments and calling the unvaccinated racists and misogynists. And we have heard testimony in this inquiry about how some of your officials wanted to label protesters as terrorists. Would you agree with me that one of the most important roles of a prime minister is to unite Canadians and not divide them by engaging in name-calling?
I did not call people who were unvaccinated names. A Liberal government will also do what the Harper Conservatives ought to have said years ago. We will not buy the F-35 fighter jet. We know that choosing to cancel the F-35 procurement by the Conservative government and choosing instead to replace with a competitive bids from the many alternatives out there, we will be saving tens of billions of dollars in the coming decades.
The F-35 is a modern, reliable, and agile fighter aircraft, and it is the right aircraft for our country.
The Liberals were dead set against buying this warplane. So what changed?
The aircraft has matured, and we see now that many of our allies, 8 countries in particular, are using the F-35.
Yes or no question, Mr. Chair. Prime Minister, you twice were found guilty of breaking the Ethics Act. After those 2 convictions, did you decide to read the Act?
You got 14 seconds, Prime Minister.
Yes, I have read the Act a number of times.
Are you aware of Section 21?
Yes, since I've read the Act, I'm aware of Section 21.
What does it say?
I can pull it up for you, but if you have it in front of you, you can remind me.
Well, it says a public office holder, of which you are one, shall recuse himself or herself from any discussion, decision, debate, or vote in any matter in which, in respect of which he or she would be in a conflict of interest. Now, what you've admitted today is not just that you were in a conflict of interest, but that you consciously recognized in your May cabinet meeting that such a conflict might exist.
That is simply not true, Mr. Poilievre. The issue of advancing issues for one's own, and by the way,
nobody believes you when you say you don't know how much money your family has got from the We Group. You don't know how much your family has received from this organization, which you tried to give $500 million. Really?
Can I answer, Mr. Polyev?
I'm waiting. You haven't done an answer so far. Let's make this the first one.
My mother has worked as an advocate,
The dollar figure, Prime Minister.
speaker for
How much?
many good organizations across the country. The Emergencies Act enabled local authorities to end the illegal blockades. We've heard from the Commissioner of the RCMP, police chiefs, experts, and political leadership that it was essential to the police response and that it offered precision and clarity as they did their important work. But even after all this has ended, Conservative MPs still can't pick a lane. Canadians want to know, do they stand with blockaders or do they stand with Canadian communities? Police were clear that they needed tools not held by any federal, provincial, or territorial law. It was only after we got advice from law enforcement that we invoked the Emergencies Act.
Through you, Madam Chair, did yourself or anyone in the OPS request the invocation of the Emergency Act?
I did not make that request. I'm not aware of anybody else in the Ottawa Police Service who did.